Sagittarius. One of the biggest astrological shifts of this cycle arrives as the lunar nodes move into Aquarius, the north node, and Leo, the south node. So the lunar nodes are powerful points of destiny that symbolize your soul's evolutionary path. The south node represents familiar patterns, your natural talents, karmic lessons, and behaviors that come easily. These strengths remain valuable, but relying on them too heavily can prevent new growth. So the north node, it represents your future. It reveals experiences, attitudes, and qualities your soul is learning to embrace. It often stretches you beyond your comfort zone, but it also opens the door to your greatest potential. So for Sagittarius, this nodal cycle activates two highly intellectual and expansive areas of your life. So we're talking the North Node in Aquarius activating your third house. And we have the South Node in Leo activating your ninth house. This is a journey from believing you already have the answers to becoming someone who remains endlessly curious, adaptable, and eager to learn. So the universe asks a question. Can you remain open to learning even after you've become the teacher? So let's talk about the nodes where they fall for Sagittarius. The North Node in Aquarius is in the third house. This is about communication, writing, it's your speaking, it's teaching, it's also your learning. It revolves around siblings, your neighbors. It's the short distance travel you do, right, within your community. It's your everyday conversations, just being curious. Local communities can be podcasts, networking, and your mental habits. So Aquarius here brings the innovation. It's the technology, the original thinking, and progressive communication into this house. Now, when we're talking about the South Node in Leo, that's the ninth house. So that represents higher education, philosophy. It's your spirituality, can be your religion. It's international travel, and it can be foreign cultures. It can also be your belief systems, long distance journeys, personal truth. It's your wisdom and your life purpose. So this is Sagittarius' natural domain. So making this nodal cycle especially meaningful for you. So the South Node isn't asking you to stop learning or to stop teaching. It's simply asking you to remain teachable. So Sagittarius, you naturally seek truth, but sometimes truth becomes so firmly held that it leaves little room for new perspectives. So you have to ask yourself, what if someone else's experiences teaches me something valuable? Am I listening as deeply as I speak? Aquarius encourages intellectual flexibility. So this cycle may change ideas you've carried for years. Some beliefs, they become stronger. Others, they evolve. Growth doesn't require abandoning your values. It requires remaining open to expanding them. So the ninth house focuses on grand ideas. The third house reminds us that profound insight often appears during ordinary conversations. So don't underestimate what you can learn from your neighbors, your coworkers, your siblings, students, or just casual encounters. Sometimes life's greatest lessons arrive in the simple moments. So, as a natural teacher, Sagittarius often enjoys sharing their knowledge. This cycle encourages asking as many questions as you answer. Curiosity creates deeper conversations than certainty alone. So, large goals are inspiring, but meaningful progress often happens through small daily actions. The North Node reminds you that consistent communication can be just as powerful as life-changing adventures. So Sagittarius often focuses on destination. So the third house asks you to pay attention to the journey, organization, communication, scheduling, follow-up, and listening becomes essential part of your growth. This is where your voice becomes one of your greatest gifts. Aquarius encourages you to communicate in ways that educate, inspire, and connect people. So this is going to be an excellent cycle if you're into writing, if you are starting to do public speaking, maybe you're starting a podcast or creating a YouTube channel. Maybe you're just simply teaching. You could be a coach. Maybe you're just blogging, or you're into journalism. Perhaps it's just simple social media or community leadership. Your ideas have the potential to reach people far beyond the immediate circle. So rather than believing you've completed your education, approach every day with beginner's curiosity. Take some courses. Read broadly. Ask thoughtful questions. Learn from people of different generations, professions, cultures. Growth becomes lifelong. So Aquarius rules the innovation. So this is a great time to embrace artificial intelligence, maybe some online education, getting into digital publishing, some virtual communities, content creation, educational platforms, new communication technologies. So modern tools can amplify your message in remarkable ways. The third house reminds you that meaningful influence begins close to home. So become involved in your community. Build stronger relationships with your neighbors, your coworkers, siblings, and local organizations. Sometimes the greatest opportunities begin with people you are already around. So communication isn't only about speaking well, it's also about understanding well. So practice listening without immediately preparing your next response. People feel deeply valued when they know when they've truly been heard. So one of the greatest gifts of this transit is learning to explain profound concepts in ways everyone can understand. The best teachers don't make ideas sound complicated. They make complicated ideas understandable. So conversations become the foundation of your closest relationships. So you could find yourself attracting intellectually stimulating friends, partners, and simply collaborators. So relationships grow stronger when communication becomes honest, curious, and respectful. You may also reconnect with siblings, neighbors, or childhood friends in meaningful ways. So Professional growth may come through careers involving the education, writing, journalism. If you're into marketing, again, public speaking, coaching, maybe you do sales, podcasting, YouTube, maybe some kind of media, or simply you're just doing some consulting. Your ability to communicate ideas clearly become one of your greatest professional assets. So this nodal cycle teaches that wisdom isn't measured by how much you know. It's measured by how willing you are to remain open to learning. The South Node reminds you not to become rigid in your beliefs or attached to always being the expert. The North Node teaches that curiosity keeps your mind alive and your spirit growing. Every meaningful conversation becomes an opportunity for transformation. So, this is your invitation to become both the teacher and the lifelong student. The South Node in Leo encourages you to release the rigid beliefs, intellectual pride, the need to always have the answers, overlooking everyday wisdom, and the assumption that growth only comes through extraordinary experiences. The North Node in Aquarius invites you to strengthen your communication, embrace the curiosity, develop new skills, share your ideas through modern technology, build meaningful local connections, and continue learning throughout your life. By the end of the nodal cycle, you may discover that your greatest adventure wasn't the distant place you traveled. It was the conversation that changed the way you think. Because ideas have the power to transform lives, including your own. That is the extraordinary gift of the North Node in Aquarius for Sagittarius. So, becoming a communicator whose words educate, connect, inspire, and help shape a wiser future for everyone they reach. So, if you found this to be helpful and you like this type of content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All of that helps the channel to grow, and it helps this content go out farther and reach everybody else who's looking for the same type of information. So until the next one, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.